Barakatah Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. This one is a correction. Yahawashi was crucified on the Passover. And the reason why I'm making this correction video is because someone asked me, I believe his name was Hebrew Israelite, and he asked me, he gave me a scripture in Mark, and he asked me, when was the Lord crucified? And I already knew it was a Passover, but the way it was written in Mark, it seemed like he was crucified the day before. So I told the brother on the 14th day, which I was wrong about that. So I'm making a correction video on that because I was watching the pastor's video just now, and he mentioned it, that the brother came to him and that he came to me, and he said that he hadn't come back to me because I would have mentioned it to a pastor, which he's right, I would have mentioned it to him, but I forgot, it slipped my mind. So I'm just making this video real quick just to correct that, that I was off on that. Even though I already knew he was, crucified on the Passover, for some reason that scripture Mark 15 threw me off, and I told the brother, something that wasn't correct. So I'm here to correct it. Now, what I do want to say is that, you have a lot of individuals out there that ask questions, that are sincere, and you have others that have ulterior motives that are not sincere, and they're trying to cause division between us as far as the gospel is concerned. But you're gonna find there's no divisions. Now, I don't know if that's the case with this brother. It might be, may not be. I don't know. I can't read his mind, but the bottom line is you do have those individuals out there. So I'm just saying this in general. You have those individuals out there that try to nitpick any little thing, to try to bring division among us. And the Lord said he hates discord among brethren. Now, when we read the book of Mark 15 and 42, it says, and now when the even was come, because it was the preparation, that is the day before the Sabbath. So the way it was written, this here, it seems like it's like Yahawashi was crucified, just before the Passover came in, which means he would have kept the Passover the night before, but that's not the case. Because even within the same chapter, when you read up above it, I'll start at 1, but the point is in 6. But I'm going to read 1 and I'm going to jump to 6. And straightway in the morning, the chief priests held a consultation with the elders and scribes and the whole council, and bound Yahawashi and carried him away and delivered him to Pilate. So this was during the time when he was about to be crucified. Now verse 6 says, now at the feast, what feast? The feast of the Passover. He released unto them one prisoner whomsoever they desired. So this was a custom that they adopted from Babylon, which they actually put that in there, and it was something that they were keeping, that the rulers, the Roman rulers of that region, were releasing a prisoner to them, on the Passover, on the feast, which we just read it. And I came across the same scripture, that scripture came into mind, and I came across the same one in the book of in the book of St. John 18. I'm going to start at 38. The point is in 39, but I'm going to read to 40. St. John 18 and 38. Pilate saith unto him, what is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Jews, and saith unto them, I find in him no fault at all. But ye have a custom, that I should release unto you one at the Passover. So we know that Yahawashi was kept, he was crucified, and Barabbas was released, as the prisoner. So this was on the Passover, because this was a custom that they kept. So Yahawashi was crucified on the Passover. So it says, but you have a custom that I should release unto you one at the Passover. Will you therefore that I release unto you the King of the Jews? Then cried they all again, saying, not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber. He was also a murderer also. So the point is that Yahawashi was crucified on the Passover, because that was the very day where they released unto the Jews a prisoner. which they released Barabbas because they wanted Yahawashi to be crucified, because this was all part of prophecy. So Yahawashi was crucified on the Passover. Like I said, I just wanted to make that correction, because the way it was written in Mark 15, it threw me off, and I went off. So I just wanted to correct that. So Matthew 26 and 17, it says, now the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which the Feast of Unleavened Bread is the Passover. The disciples came to Yahawashi, because it's kept the 14th day at evening, which the 14th day at evening is what? The Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread together. That's why you eat unleavened bread on the Passover. Saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? You see? And he said, go into the city to such a man, say unto him, the master saith, my time is at hand, I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. It says, and the disciples did as Yahawashi had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. So he ate the Passover. During the time of the Passover, he was also crucified, because at that same feast, they released the prisoner Barabbas, and they crucified Yahawashi. Another one is Mark 14, just pretty much saying the same thing, which is a chapter before the Mark 15. And in Mark 14, it also says the same thing. Mark 14 and the 12th verse, it says, and the first day of unleavened bread, when they killed the Passover, his disciples said unto him, where would thou that we go and prepare that thou mayest eat the Passover? So this was during the time, it was a chapter before that scripture where it says, because it was a day of preparation, that the body should not remain on the cross all night. So the way it was written, it seemed odd, but it follows in sequence to Mark 14. So he kept he was crucified on the Passover. And Luke 22, which is the last one, Luke 22 and 1 says, now the feast of the unleavened bread, which is the Passover also, drew nigh, which is called the Passover. Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover. For those of you that just need everything to be explained, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. In verse 7, right, same chapter, verse 7, then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Peter and John, saying, go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare? So you get the point. The point is that Yahawashi was crucified on the Passover. They ate the Passover that night. Then the following morning, he was brought to the different councils. And that day, before the sun went down, he was crucified. All right? So that there'll be no mistake, and that no one out there tries to say, well, there's a division there because, Ryan Lop said this and the Apostle Torah said that. Yahawashi was crucified on the Passover. Okay? So with that, Pastor said, oh boy, we're having fun now. Yeah, so, pretty much I just wanted to, make that correction, because, we don't want there to be any divisions. We don't want there to be any doubt in anyone's mind. We don't want there to be any confusion. At the end of the day, the Lord said he's not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the saints of the churches. All right? So the Lord is not the author of confusion, neither should we be. We should all speak the same thing. So Yahawashi, once again, was crucified on the Passover. And you just got the scriptures. If you didn't get them, go back. You should have wrote them down. But if you didn't get them, go back, watch the video when it finishes processing, and write the scriptures down and go check it for yourself. So with that, pray that you learn something. To the next time I say shalom. That's why you need teachers. That's right. The Apostle said that's why you need teachers. And it was through the Spirit, because I forgot to mention it to Apostle Torah. And I meant to mention it to him, because, like I said, I had went off on that. But when you go back and you examine it, and even the chapter before that, it tells you it was the Passover, which I already knew that, but that one verse had threw me off, but it's all right. Yeah, not niggas, right? You need teachers and not niggas. That's why the Lord said that he's setting up these teachers, apostles, and Them for what? For the perfecting of the saints. The word perfection means to be complete, entire, wanting nothing. You know, because at the end of the day, in order for you to be a teacher, you have to learn how to be a teacher. You have to learn, you know, the doctrine and how to teach it right, so that you can teach others also that can come in your stead and teach. Like Wi-Fi, yeah, them individuals. Boy, oh boy, you know. So like I said, I want to make that because you have ninjas out there that will try to use that and, you know, try to say, you know, try to cause division and, you know, dissension, which the Lord hates. But, you know, be it as it may, it is what it is, and you got the correction now. Yahawashi was crucified on the Passover. Shalom.